Steve Gullans, in your book, Evolving Ourselves, you take Darwin and natural selection and you make it unnatural. How and why are you doing that?
So we're updating Darwin for a number of reasons. I'm a venture investor. I see biotechnology and all the technologies around us that impact us. And just observing the modern world with our kids and our grandkids, it's really a time where we now understand, or beginning to understand, the impact of the world we're creating on our bodies, ourselves, and the world around us.
So in other words, we are changing our environment instead of our environment changing us, which is a little bit of what Darwin spelled out. Can you give me some examples?
So Darwin talked about the natural world. He talked about the finches in the Galapagos and how their beaks would change sizes when the things would happen. In today's world, we actually see lots and lots of consequences. We're smarter, we're happier, and we're wealthier as individuals because we've created a world with better food, better access to medicine, and things like this. So we've actually changed our bodies in many, many ways. It hasn't all been beneficial. We're now beginning to understand the consequences of things like allergies and autism and other epidemics that are coming from nowhere, but in fact our unnatural world contributes to this.
Are you refuting Darwin, or is this a complementary book to The Origin of Species?
We are not refuting Darwin at all. Darwin is a perfect description of the natural world, and he's largely right in terms of the unnatural world, the world's created by humans and driven by humans. What we're saying is humans have changed the world from what it was in Darwin's day to something very new today.
Can you address the climate change issue? Because when people say that we're changing the world, usually they say we're changing it in a bad way that's going to hurt the next generation. Can you tackle climate change?
Climate change is interesting. It's clearly the temperature is rising. There is man-made elements to it, and where it's headed is absolutely not fully predictable, but it clearly is going to be warmer. People are predicting changes in weather, changes in crops, etc. In terms of what biologists, biotechnology, and companies in this space will be able to do, we'll be able to adapt species like the bacteria around us, like the plants in our fields, to live better in this kind of a climate. And so I'm not in any way negative about the consequences of climate change over the long term. It's in the near term we need to find ways to address it.
And you're not just an author, you're an investor as well. So talk about from an investing angle, how could someone profit from the changes that you see going forward because of unnatural selection?
Well, if we look at the biotechnology industry, which is really the first harbingers of how biology is going to impact the markets, impact the global economy, we find that there's new advancing drug therapies that are coming very quickly. Last year, there were 41 drugs approved. That's the most we've seen in 15, 20 years now. And the reason is the human genome was identified and uncovered 15 years ago. And just now, we're actually beginning to learn how to implement ways to modify it, change it, improve our lives, and tackle diseases. In the future, these same technologies to read gene code, to modify gene code, to edit gene code, to tweak living systems to benefit us in many, many ways, including climate change, will be in our hands.
And then finally, are you optimistic about the future? Because a lot of people get into sustainable investing because they're worried about running out of food or climate change or a scary issue, and they are scary. I'm not diminishing that. But your book is optimistic.
There are very many elements to being an optimist, and one is there are concerns about lots of technology developments in terms of safety and moral and ethical concerns. These are all addressable. Like any technology revolution, biology is a big one and it's coming fast. In terms of being an optimist, now that we have the tools in our hands to begin to understand nature, to begin to modify nature in ways that can be beneficial to us and our grandchildren, we'll begin to use them in ways that I believe are beneficial.
Steve Gullans, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Greg. It was wonderful.
And thank you for watching The Street.